Every single decision you make today, what to eat, whether to hit snooze, which route to take to work, is economics. Not the boring charts and graphs you might be picturing. Real economics, the kind that quietly runs every moment of your life. Welcome back. Today we are diving into the very first chapter of Principles of Economics, and by the end of this video you will understand what economics actually is, why scarcity is the engine behind every human choice, how economists think differently from everyone else, the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics, and why studying economics might just be the most practical thing you ever do. Let us get into it. Section 1. What is economics really? Most people hear the word economics and immediately think of stock tickers, interest rates, or some professor drawing supply and demand curves on a chalkboard. But that definition sells it way short. Economics is the study of how people, businesses, and governments make choices when they cannot have everything they want. That is it. At its core, economics is about choice. Think about it this way. You walk into a grocery store with $20. You want steak, you want sushi, you want a fancy bottle of sparkling water, and you also need pasta and vegetables for the week. You cannot have all of it. So you choose. That moment of choosing, that tension between wants and limits, is economics happening in real time. The formal definition you will see in textbooks is this. Economics is a social science concerned with the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. But the heart of it, the thing that makes it matter, is that it studies human behavior under constraint. Economists ask questions like, why do people buy less of something when the price goes up? Why do some countries stay poor while others grow wealthy? Why do traffic jams exist even when no single driver wants to be stuck in one? These are not abstract questions. They affect your salary, your rent, your healthcare, and the price of your morning coffee. So here is something to think about as we move forward. If economics is really about choices, then what is it that forces us to choose in the first place? Section 2. Scarcity, the force behind everything. The answer to that question is scarcity. Scarcity is the foundational concept of all economics, and it is simpler than it sounds. Scarcity just means that resources are limited, but human wants are not. There is only so much time in a day, only so much money in your wallet, only so much oil in the ground, only so many doctors in a hospital. Resources have limits. But the things people want, those are essentially endless. Because of scarcity, every choice you make has a cost. Not just a price tag, but a real cost. The thing you gave up to make that choice. Economists have a special name for this. They call it opportunity cost. Here is a classic example. Say you decide to spend Saturday watching Netflix instead of picking up a shift at work. If that shift would have paid you $80, then your opportunity cost of watching Netflix is $80. That is the real cost of your choice, even if you never handed anyone a single dollar. Opportunity cost shows up everywhere. A government that spends money building a new highway cannot spend that same money on schools. A company that uses its factory to make cars cannot use it to make trucks at the same time. Every yes is a no to something else. This idea completely changes how you evaluate decisions. You stop asking just what something costs and start asking what you are giving up. And once you start thinking that way, it is very hard to stop. Which raises a natural question. If scarcity forces everyone to make trade-offs, do all people make those trade-offs the same way? Section 3. How economists think. The short answer is no. And this is where economics gets really interesting. Economists assume that people are, in general, rational. That does not mean perfect or robotic. It means that people weigh their options and choose the one they believe gives them the best outcome given their situation and information. This framework leads economists to think at the margin. That phrase, thinking at the margin, is one of the most powerful ideas in all of economics. It means focusing on the next unit of a decision, not the whole picture. Here is an example. You have already eaten 3 slices of pizza. Should you eat a 4th? You do not ask yourself whether pizza in general is worth it. You ask whether that one additional slice is worth it right now, given how full you already are. That is marginal thinking. Businesses use this constantly. Should we hire 1 more employee? Should we produce 100 more units? Should we keep the store open 1 more hour? These are all marginal decisions, and getting them right is the difference between profit and loss. Economists also believe that people respond to incentives. Change the reward or the cost of an action, and behavior changes. Raise the price of cigarettes, fewer people smoke. Give students a bonus for finishing homework, more homework gets done. Incentives are the levers that move human behavior. Understanding incentives means you can predict how people will react to policy changes, price shifts, or new rules. And that predictive power is exactly what makes economic thinking so valuable. But here is a question. Is economics always about individuals making choices, or does it zoom out to look at the bigger picture too? Section 4. Micro versus macro. Great question, and the answer is both. Economics is actually split into two major branches, and understanding the difference helps you know what you are looking at when economic news hits. Microeconomics focuses on individual actors, a single consumer, a single business, a specific market. It asks questions like, why do wages differ between jobs? How does a firm decide what price to charge? What happens to the market for used cars when a new tax is introduced? Macroeconomics zooms all the way out and looks at the economy as a whole. It asks, why does unemployment rise during a recession? What causes inflation? How do government spending decisions affect national growth? Think of microeconomics as studying individual trees and macroeconomics as studying the entire forest. Both perspectives matter. You need to understand how individual decisions add up to create national and global outcomes, and you need to understand how big national forces trickle down to affect your personal budget. Most introductory economics courses cover both. You will move between the two throughout your studies, and over time you will see how deeply connected they are. Which brings up one final question. With all these moving parts, why should you personally care about learning any of this? Section 5. Why economics matters for your life. Here is the honest answer. You do not need to become an economist to benefit from economic thinking. But a basic understanding of economics will make you a sharper decision maker, a more informed voter, and a more strategic planner for your own future. When you understand scarcity, you stop wondering why free things always run out. When you understand opportunity cost, you make better trade-offs with your time and money. When you understand incentives, you can predict how people and institutions will behave. When you understand micro and macro, you can read economic news and actually know what it means for you. Economics is not just academic. It explains why your rent is high, why some careers pay more than others, why certain products disappear from shelves, and why the decisions made in a government building thousands of miles away can affect your grocery bill next month. This chapter is just the beginning, and it sets the foundation for everything that follows in this course. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below with one economic trade-off you faced this week. It does not have to be big. It could be as simple as choosing between sleep and studying. Let us see how many real-world examples we can collect in the comments. If this video helped you make sense of Chapter 1, give it a like so more students can find it. And if you want to follow along with the entire Principles of Economics series, make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you never miss a new lesson. The next video covers supply and demand, probably the most famous concept in all of economics, and almost certainly misunderstood by most people who think they already know it. You do not want to miss that one. See you in the next video.